Okay, and welcome back to our next little piece. Okay, I've been a little bit busy here with my network and I've made some changes. And once again, I've got one of these routers stuck in the middle. Okay, so of course, what have I done? Well, I've taken two networks and I've joined them together. Okay, so I've got this 199.2.3 network and a 199.2.4 network, which happen to both be Class C networks, which means that I could have 254 computers on this side, 254 computers on this side. But of course, these two networks can talk to each other through this router, and I've made the address the point one because I know this is the lowest number that's available. And that's often what people end up using for routers. It doesn't have to be, it just happens to be what we've ended up using. Okay, I've already gone through, I've configured the router, I've configured all the default gateways, at least I hope I have. I guess I'll find out in a few seconds. I've already been in and I've done a quick check to make sure that I can ping from PC0 all the way over to 199.2.4.15, and yes, that is working perfectly fine. But the real reason why I'm in here. Okay, so my network is 192 or 199.2.3, and we've already learned that if you start pinging this magic number 255, which is all ones in the host part of the address, we should get a response from all the computers on the same network. Okay, so let's take a look and see what we've got. So on this network, I've got 34, 21, 20, and 1. Okay, because remember, this is supposed to be acting just like a computer as well. And of course, since I'm pinging from here, I don't expect to see this, so I'm hoping I'm going to see three things. So let's find out if that's actually true. Okay, and yeah, that's exactly the numbers I got. I got the 21, the 20, and the point 0.1. Okay, perfect. All right, now, since we're here, let's do something a little bit different. What about if I come over to here and I say, let's ping 199.2.4. Well, let's check and make sure number 10 works. Okay. Okay, well, maybe that's a bad sign. Maybe I've misconfigured some. Oh, okay. It's one of those things. Sometimes it takes a little bit of time. So I can definitely ping 10 and I can ping 15. Okay, that's a good sign. What about 255? Okay, well, what are you expecting? Well, if you take a look over here on this network, you can see there's a point 1, there's a point 10, and a point 15, and none of them are me, so I'm kind of expecting three things to come back. Okay, so this does not appear to be giving me quite the right value. Okay, this doesn't seem to be working as I expected. I am seeing something. I'm seeing only the IP address of 199.2.3.1. So I can kind of tell that something is coming back. And I know it's coming back from my router, but I can't actually see anything. Okay, so no, most routers are set up not to forward what's known as broadcast messages across to another subnet. Now, can you imagine how bad things would actually be if you were able to do this? Because if you start picking some random values, for example, the IP address of the college, um, if you knew the IP address from the outside and you started pinging it from home, what would that mean? Would that mean that a broadcast message would be allowed to travel to all the computers on campus? And no, this is certainly not going to be allowed. Okay, so most of the time, routers are set up so that you can't broadcast beyond the current within outside of the current network that you're on. So in other words, only the things that are directly connected to the switch will normally be allowed to be broadcast. It is possible to do some configuration to allow broadcast messages to go across, but generally it won't be configured this way. Okay, so in other words, I could run pings over here and I would see all the machines in this part if I was trying to do broadcasts, and I could broadcast messages to everybody on this network, but I can't do any type of broadcast from one place over to another. But I can certainly reach the individual computers. But you can imagine that it kind of looks like this. Normally when you have yourself a network, and if it's not your network, this is kind of what it looks like. In other words, you can't see anything. You can see your own network here. You can see that there's a router, but you just can't see anything else on the other end of the router. Okay, so it's kind of like a private area. So that's another reason why these broadcasts are simply not transmitted over to the other end. And you can imagine, just from a point of view of the amount of traffic, you don't want people pinging everything across the entire world. In fact, an operation like this, okay, ping 255, ping 255, 255, 255, 255. I mean, it sounds like 255 is a broadcast. What, would this end up pinging the entire world? Well, luckily, this also doesn't work because it turns out this is actually a valid host name. Okay. All right. So that's all for Class C networks that I want to talk about. I'm going to be back for one final video on this section. No, wait, sorry. There's actually two videos. I'll break it up into two pieces. So I'll be back for the next piece where I want to talk about some Class B networks. But once again, I have to do a little bit of work up front in order to get some packet tracer stuff ready to go. Okay? All right, so check out the next video. See you in a few minutes.